Page 4. At this stage of the seminar, I always ask the group, who's the salesperson most likely to deal with going ahead? And I always get the same answer. It's the CEO, number 4. And in real life, that's probably the case, mainly because that's who the salesperson wants to talk to. The person's talking our language. They're giving us yes to basically everything that we're asking, and it sounds and feels great. The other element of this scorecard, however, is the stage of opportunity. And the stage of the opportunity is always the lowest common denominator of the stage of acceptance. Given that we have a 2, 3, and a 4, the stage of this opportunity, therefore, is a 2. So if we look at who is stage 2, our strategy to advance this sale is we need to deal with time frame first for the president. Because frankly, this sale is not going to advance until that is turned into a yes. This is the kind of strategizing that the qualification scorecard will enable your salespeople to do in a much more accurate way. It helps them to think through where they are in the sale and try and advance it. And while we're talking about that, the key to time management is actually shortening the sales cycle. So your decision-making process is critical to that. If you can close the sale in 5 contacts instead of 6, or 4 instead of 5, or 3 instead of 4, you will dramatically affect your time management skills and the time available to you in the year. And quite frankly, if you think about it, would your customer be happier if you did that? I think the answer is yes, because he's as busy as we are. Everybody's extremely busy. The deal's only going to close if all the conditions are right for the customer in any event, but by making it happen sooner, we're much more effective both for our customers, but particularly for ourselves. And how important is time management? The time management gurus often will agree that you can gain 6 weeks a year if you're more effective in time management. So how can one visualize that? If you thought for a moment and considered that what would happen if the year were 13 and a half months long? What would that do to your ability to have holidays and time off and time with your kids and time for your hobbies and increase time to accomplish your goals at work and infect your income? It's pretty dramatic and well worth the effort, but you need to understand it first and you need to have a system to help you to do it, and that's what the Revenue Builder will do. Let's talk for a moment about the Revenue Scorecard Key. This example here simply shows a real-life example where a customer has incorporated the client data, the scorecard information in the center with the scorecard key at the bottom. So on one form, they have all the information they need. Oftentimes people have this in 3 forms. Whatever works for you is fine. It's just you should have a system. But let's look at the scorecard key for a moment. If you look at number 2, what number 2 indicates is no in need equals supply, yes in decision maker, no in the final 2 quadrants. So what that tells you as a salesperson is that you have a decision maker, but you haven't convinced them that there's a fit between what you have to offer and what their need is. So it's pretty clear what your strategy is, but the point is you're going in with a definite goal of accomplishing the need equals supply being changed to a yes. If you look at number 3, no under need equals supply, no under decision maker, yes under time frame, and no under funds allocated. How significant is that? It's extremely significant because it tells you that a deal is going to be done because there's a time frame in this company. That was the origin of a sale. The whole reason sales were developed and put in place as a business strategy was to create a consequence if you didn't take action by a certain time. This scorecard is telling us that's going to happen within this company. So we better find out who the decision maker is, and we better get and convince them there's a fit between our products. Very helpful in developing strategy. If we look at number 6, need equals supply is no, and there's a yes to the other 3. Well, that's pretty straightforward when you look at it here, and pretty self-evident. But isn't that very helpful for a salesperson to have, to know that your efforts from this point have got to be focused clearly on demonstrating to the customer why there's a fit between their need and your supply. If we look at number 10, we have yes is need equals supply, no is a decision maker, yes for time frame, and yes for funds allocated. And this is not an uncommon situation. in the business world. We often find salespeople running up against this, and what typically can happen is it's an employee who says, look, let me sell it internally for you. I'm on your side, I want you to get the deal, but they're so protective of their own territory, even though they're not a decision maker, they're going to make the sale internally. Well, the question is, are they trained to sell your product better than your salesperson? Of course they aren't. So what the strategy the salesperson needs here is to develop a partnership with this individual and convince them that we can accomplish the goal better if we work together by them putting us in touch with the decision makers and having your salesperson make the case. Much more effective strategizing for use of company resources, and more importantly, increasing your odds of getting the deal. And that's all what sales training is all about. It's all about increasing the odds of getting an affirmative answer on the deal. If we look at number 13, we have yes in equal supply, yes in decision maker, no in time frame, and yes under funds allocated. Also a fairly common situation that salespeople run up against. It means that if you can create a deadline that has meaning and is realistic, you may be able to advance the sale sooner. Looking at number 15, we have yes in the first three quadrants and no under funds allocated. Sometimes in certain situations, the fix to advance the sale is being able to create funding sources for your client, and that can be a very useful strategy by realizing where you are in the stages of acceptance.